our lives had changed completely overnight. People mean well whenever they pity you or sympathise with what's happened to you. But really, they've nothing to do with the way, why I am the way I am. Getting my diagnosis of a rare disease, it is life-changing. It was life-changing. Rare diseases are rare. There's not going to be an awful lot known about them. And who better to ask than the person that's living with these conditions, with all the complications that there are. You can't learn all that through a medical course. My name is Julie Power, and I've been diagnosed with vasculitis. Vasculitis is a rare autoimmune condition, and it's systemic, so it affects all organs. Basically, it's where the immune system attacks the blood vessels. There are roughly about 39 in a million diagnosed with these different types of vasculitis. The treatments that are used are quite toxic and have a lot of side effects, and there is no cure, but we can be managed very well on treatment. Before I was diagnosed, I had a lot of very strange symptoms. And I suppose one of the most persistent ones was constantly having flu-like symptoms and joint pain and peculiar swellings in an individual joint. Even silly things like having really sore thumbs. There was no explanation for any of this. And I think my GP didn't realise that all these strange things that I was presenting with were all related. Basically, I just felt like I was falling apart. That was December 2005 that I suppose everything kind of came to a head. I had been ill for quite a few weeks before that. I was actually bedridden at this stage. I couldn't eat, like nothing. I couldn't take anything in. And I went to get up to go to the toilet and I couldn't stay conscious. So my husband took me into A&E. And whenever they examined me, they saw that I was very severely dehydrated, but they thought that was the main problem, and they said, "Oh, we'll rehydrate you, and then you can go home." But something inside me told me that I was, I was more ill than that. So I told my husband to go home so that I wouldn't have a way home, that I would have to stay at the hospital, and they would have to do something about me. I thought I was having a period, but actually I was losing blood from my kidneys. I didn't realise that at the time. And then I started having cardiac issues. So a young doctor had come round and he thought, right, there's something very seriously wrong here, and there was something definitely going wrong with my bowel. So I was sent to another hospital for surgery. I remember whenever I was going down for surgery thinking, I have left home a few days ago. I've left my children at home and I never even said goodbye. I was feeling so ill and thinking, I don't know how I'm going to be able to get back. And then for some reason, I just had this overwhelming sense of peace, because I just thought, there's absolutely nothing I can do about that. I didn't know at the time, but my husband had been called and told that I was really ill. They realised that my bowel had ruptured. That's what they had to correct that, but there was an awful lot more damage that they had to address whenever they were in there. The surgeon just couldn't understand why a 40-year-old woman had all these very strange symptoms and all this stuff happening to her with no real previous history. It was just mystifying to him. I think I was very lucky with the surgeon because he took a biopsy from the bowel, and it was from that biopsy that I actually got my diagnosis of vasculitis. I was 3 months in the hospital, and I had, quite a few life-threatening incidents whenever I was in hospital. The idea of being discharged home was just, I suppose I panicked. We felt that we had no support and no reassurance. The only reassurance was you can get in touch with your GP. And I think it had a really big toll on my husband. He was the breadwinner of the family, and all of a sudden he had a dependent wife. He was looking after the children. He had worked throughout the whole time while I was in hospital, but he took time off because I was coming home in a wheelchair. Our future was going to be completely different. I think we all went through a grieving process for the lives that we lost. A rare condition isn't just about the person who has the illness. It actually affects the whole family too. They all live with it. And it's really important that we start to recognise that. I have no idea how I would have managed on my own. I have been very fortunate. I have a husband. He's just been my rock. I had my children, and I had a good circle around me. But if I hadn't had that, I really don't know how I would have managed. One of the silver linings might have been that whenever I got my diagnosis, I was at home all the time. I couldn't get out. So because of that, I was here for my children. They know that I'm at home and that I'm at the end of the phone or whatever, you know. So I think in one way we have a richer relationship in one way. The thing that gives me hope for the future is access to new medicines that will be coming down the line, that would have less side effects. And I think for me personally, if I was able to come off my medication, that would be absolutely brilliant. Living with a rare disease, it took me a wee while to realise that I was living with a rare disease. I realised that there was things that I just wouldn't be able to do, that I couldn't do. And there's no point in worrying about that. I do a bit of art, or I'll do a bit of painting, or I'll do a bit of knitting or something like that. But it's something creative and it's my way of expressing things. Music is another thing that means a lot to me now. I'll never have the, like the normal life, but I have a very full life, a good quality of life.